So we're maybe now at the stage in our project where we want to start making some of the components that we've designed in Fusion 360. And maybe one of the ways that we want to use may be 3D printing. And to do that, we need to move to the Make menu across the top ribbon and select the 3D print option. And what this wants me to do is first of all point it at the part that I want to 3D print. And then I get a number of options. So I get an option here called Refinement, which allows me to choose the number of triangles that are going to be generated to define the geometry of this part that the 3D printer can then understand how to 3D print. With the high refinement option selected, if I click on Preview Mesh, what it's going to do is create a preview of that mesh of triangles around the part that will generate the geometry. And if I zoom in, you'll see there's lots of small, medium and large triangles in this particular mesh. In total there's just under 30,000 triangles that have been generated there to send to the 3D printer. If I need to, I can click on these refinement options and make some fine tuning if necessary. But now I can move down to the output area and decide how to output this particular mesh. So I've got an opportunity to uncheck the box where it says Send to 3D Print Utility, and that will allow me to save locally an STL file of that mesh. I can then use that STL file and import it into my software that prepares the model for 3D printing, the slicing software. So that's one way of doing it, but Fusion 360 has a faster workflow than that, and that occurs if you select that Send to 3D Print Utility option. You've now got a dialog box which allows you to choose the 3D print utility to use, and if your software isn't actually in that list, then select the custom option down at the bottom and then hit this application icon and go search for the application or the slicing software application that you use to prepare your part for 3D printing. What happens then when you've got all of that set up and you click on OK is, instead of you saving an STL file locally, Fusion 360 in the background creates the STL file, automatically opens up that software that you've just designated as where it needs to be output to, and then drops that file directly into that software. So that's a much quicker workflow, and you can get very quickly from this particular environment into this environment where the part's now being prepared for 3D printing. So there's a couple of options in terms of 3D printing. You can choose the refinement of the mesh and choose where to send the output from that once you've completed it. So that's a couple of ways to prepare things ready for 3D printing using Fusion 360.